When you hear the name Cleopatra, what instantly pops into your head? Unparalleled beauty? Some tragic, sweeping romance? Or maybe those dramatic movie scenes of a queen lounging on a golden barge, seducing powerful men? Well, today we are going to challenge absolutely everything you think you know. We're jumping right in to uncover the real person hiding behind literally thousands of years of rumors and propaganda.
So, ask yourself this. What if history's greatest seductress was actually its sharpest political mind? For over 2 millennia, the narrative surrounding her has been almost entirely dominated by the propaganda of her enemies. But today, we're peeling back those layers. Throughout this explainer, we're going to look at the historical context, her upbringing, and the actual, boots-on-the-ground geopolitical moves she made. We're going to uncover a leader who survived and thrived, using her intellect as her absolute primary weapon.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the myth versus the mind. The Hollywood myth we've all been sold remembers Cleopatra primarily for her unmatched beauty, right? But the historical reality is actually quite different. Her physical appearance wasn't actually what captivated the ancient world. It was her brilliant conversation, her charisma, and her sheer undeniable intellect. You see, Cleopatra was a profound scholar. She was raised in Alexandria, which was literally the intellectual capital of the ancient world at the time. She studied mathematics, philosophy, diplomacy, economics. And get this, she was reportedly the only ruler of her Greek dynasty to actually bother learning the local Egyptian language, alongside maybe a half-dozen other languages. This meant she could speak directly to her subjects and foreign diplomats alike, no interpreter needed. Now that is the mark of a deeply calculating and highly effective leader.
Moving on to Section 2, a strategic rise to power.
So her mind was sharpened like a weapon from day one. She received a comprehensive education that prepared her for the immense, crushing burdens of leadership. And honestly, she needed every single ounce of that training to navigate Egypt's volatile political situation. While Egypt was incredibly wealthy, it was the breadbasket of the Mediterranean. It was politically incredibly fragile. Her family, the Ptolemies, were totally infamous for their brutal internal rivalries. Plus, you had the rapidly expanding Roman Republic right next door, constantly eyeing Egypt. So becoming Queen of Egypt, it didn't mean a smooth transition into a peaceful reign, not at all. When her father died, she was forced into a power-sharing agreement with her younger brother, who actually ended up exiling her. To become the sole ruler, she had to navigate a literal civil war, leaning completely on her intellect to survive and secure the throne against some really overwhelming odds.
Which brings us to Section 3, forging Roman alliances.
Now, during her civil war, she famously forged a strategic alliance with Julius Caesar. And let's be clear, this wasn't just some dramatic romantic stunt. It was a high-stakes, calculated gamble to secure the backing of the most powerful military force on Earth. And guess what? It worked. She followed this up by having a child with Caesar, Caesarion, which was a massive geopolitical move. It was a deliberate attempt to merge the bloodlines of Rome and Egypt, basically creating a living treaty to protect her dynasty. Then, after Caesar's assassination, the world order was thrown into total chaos. But Cleopatra didn't panic, she pivoted. She allied with Mark Antony, Rome's top general in the east. Antony needed Egypt's immense wealth to fund his military campaigns. And Cleopatra? Well, she needed Roman legions to deter other invaders. It was an absolute masterclass in leveraging every single asset at her disposal: diplomacy, wealth, strategic partnerships, all to maintain absolute sovereignty over her kingdom.
Now, for Section 4, the dramatic downfall.
So her world unraveled rapidly, and it all began with a growing conflict with Octavian. As Caesar's adopted heir back in Rome, Octavian viewed Cleopatra's alliance with Antony, and honestly the very existence of her son Caesarion, as massive existential threats. So he launched a huge, ruthless smear campaign, painting Cleopatra as this dangerous foreign enemy. In 31 BCE, all this tension exploded into the decisive Battle of Actium. Unfortunately for Cleopatra, Octavian's forces decisively outmaneuvered the combined Egyptian and Roman fleets in a totally crushing naval defeat. Retreating to Alexandria for her desperate final days, she barricaded herself in and just watched as her remaining forces defected. Those carefully constructed alliances that had kept her country free for decades, they were completely collapsing around her.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, her true historical legacy.
Make no mistake, her political decisions forever changed the course of the ancient Roman and Egyptian world. When Octavian closed in on Alexandria, Cleopatra made her final, ultimate calculated move. Rather than being captured, paraded through the streets of Rome in chains, and humiliated as a trophy of war, she chose to end her own life. It was a final act of unyielding autonomy.
But with her death came the really tragic end of an entire civilization. Thousands of years of rule by Egyptian pharaohs ended right there, and Egypt was swallowed up as just another province of the new Roman Empire. Still, her historical footprint was entirely forged by her intellect and her strategy. I mean, think about it. She held the most powerful empire in the world at bay for over 2 decades. She decisively altered global empires and shaped the boundaries of the ancient world in ways that echoed for centuries.
Ultimately, Cleopatra was far, far more than just a beautiful queen. She was one of history's most capable and influential rulers. History is so often written by the victors, you know? Octavian, who later became the Emperor Augustus, he controlled the narrative. And frankly, he found it much easier to tell the world he defeated a seductive enchantress than to admit he was nearly outmaneuvered by a brilliant, highly educated female political strategist. So as you walk away from this explainer today, I hope you never look at the legend of Cleopatra quite the same way again. Just ask yourself, are you remembering the Roman myth, or are you recognizing the sovereign wit and commanding intellect of Egypt's most powerful queen? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with me. Keep questioning the narrative, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.